I'm also noticing how Indian writing is sort of, taking note of and giving character sketches importance now. It was very plot driven maybe 10 years back. And I think it's because, we're also watching so much of world cinema as well as, series where all these characters are so well written that they remain in your head for decades.
Yeah.
And
But
like,
I know you're right when you say plot is key or was key or still is key, actually. You can't do away with plot. But if you really think about it, all the legendary films, like let's say even Sholay,
hmm,
um, the characters were so well etched out. Yes, you had great plot. I mean, plot, actually, if you think about it, plot was simplistic only. It was a revenge drama.
yeah,
But because the characters were so finely written, whether they were comedic characters or they were, that Thakur's
villains.
character.
Correct,
Yeah, they were all, it's the characters and that then give you dialogues. If you have interesting characters, they will give you interesting dialogues.
correct. No, absolutely.
Hi, my question is, I read that you and Tanuja, you all took like 3 years to, to even get Irfan to say yes to the script for Qarib Qarib. So I wanted to know what was your writing process with Tanuja initially on the characters, conflicts, resolutions, and then how did it evolve once you all started interacting with Irfan?
Right. So Qarib Qarib is one of the first, things I mentioned that we worked on two, three things together. One of them reached almost the production stage, but then the plugs were pulled. Qarib Qarib is also one of those things. I think we must have started, if I'm not wrong, in 2011 or 2012. This is a one-pager radio play that Tanuja's mum had written back in the day, 30 years back or something. Her mum is Kamna Chandra. She's also a writer. And so she'd written, of course, we majorly adapted it. Um, so Tanuja had some bit of the story already. She'd expanded the story when she brought me on board. And again, we worked on characters. So Jaya and Yogi both were there in the story, but they're slightly different, or Yogi is quite a bit different from what was there in the story. Um, so see, Yogi is a character who's sort of stuck in the past, as is Jaya. They both sort of stuck in the past with their ex-lovers, but in different ways. Like Yogi's persona and his take on life is slightly more upbeat, and he's still more charming. He's still full of life. Whereas Jaya is sort of stuck in that past.
I actually had a follow-up question on Ek Ladki because, it is an adaptation, but you completely subverted the text by making a love story between two women. How did that come about? And I'm curious to know how was this, pitched to the studios and how did they then, come around to it, because it is quite a departure. So yeah, if you could just throw some light on that experience.
Yeah, I will say I got a little bit lucky with that. Um, Especially because, this film was made at the time when Section 377 was still in place. There was still major censorship around queer stories. And so no producers were really willing to touch queer stories. The reason I say I got lucky is because the producer of this film, which is Mr. Vidhu Vinod Chopra, is the director's brother.
Hmm.
And the director's Shelly Chopra. And Shelley loved this book, so she and I were co-writing. We worked on something before which hadn't worked out. So we were thinking of what next to write, and she loves this book, and she gave it to me. And it's a nice book, of course. It was a classic. It was written more than 100 years back. But I just didn't find it exciting enough for today. That
Hmm.
story. And suddenly it was just I don't know, it was a brainwave. I mean, I've always wanted to tell queer stories because I'm from the community. And it was a brainwave that, oh, this is a mainstream story, pretty much lends itself to Bollywood. And how fun would it be if we used actually it to tell story about two women in love, right? And also create mystery around it. Like there's no mystery in the book. In the book, it's like this girl loves some other guy, and this guy has come thinking that she loves him, right? But in the story, I was like, we can also create mystery. Like we can bring audiences to the cinema halls thinking that it's a regular love story between a man and a woman. And this film story and structure lent itself easily to make the viewer believe that this is just another Bollywood love story, and have song and dance and Punjabi wedding songs and all that, and invite them, and then surprise them. And by then, they're invested enough in the characters to just deep dive into their love story, care about. Shelley brought this book to me, and I said I want to do this with the characters. And she took a day, and she said, "Okay, let's do it."
Okay.
Yeah. So again, I say I got lucky, but it's not. At the end of the day, it's still all the 10 years that came before that, right? Like all the 10 years of work connected me to Shelley Chopra Dhar, with whom I was co-writing.
Hi, Ghazal. My
Hi,
question is about Mismatched. First of all, all the online, all the young people love Mismatched. I started watching episodes of it because there's so much talk and so many memes about Dimple and Rishi and when they met. And yeah, I mean, it's obviously a show with an obsessive following. But as a writer, my question was, when you're setting up a writer's room for a show, what is the experience of working both as a head writer and as a writer participating in a writer's room like that?
Okay. So this is the only writer's room I've been a part of. And because when I was starting out, I was damn nervous, because actually the other writers in the room had some experience of being in other writers' rooms as participants, and I had none. So it was a bit nerve-wracking. It's a huge responsibility, obviously. It's a Netflix show. It was the first young adult show in India that they had commissioned. And it's a series which I have never done before. And the pressure of that you're adapting a book, you have to do justice to it. The book has its own fan following. All of that was there. I remember I think I looked up online how writers' rooms are run, what do lead writers do, and all that. I did that. I don't know if, like, at the end of the day, it's about the people you hire. I think it's at the end of the day, it's about the people. Like, I spent quite a bit of time in choosing my writers. I met lots and lots of writers who were, generous enough to meet me as well, offering their work to me. I met a lot of them. I read all of their work. I read quite a bit of their work. But even if the work is amazing, I'm not getting a good vibe from the person, I wouldn't do that. For me, a writer's room, you're spending half the day with that person, with that team for months, 4 or 5 days a week. It has to feel very, very comfortable. It has to feel like family. So people are very important. I always come down to characters and people. It's always humans first. It's always their humanity.